All right, looks like we're live. What's going on, guys? Good evening from California and good evening from Florida. I'm in California and Ryan's in Florida. Appreciate everyone who's stopping by. I know it takes a little bit of time for YouTube notifications to go out, but I know that a lot of my audience members are excited to see this. I know Ryan put up a community post for his audience members to come and check out the live. So we're definitely gonna have a good turnout tonight. But appreciate you guys joining in today. I'm joined by someone that I started following a few months ago. His channel name used to be Intermittent Fasting with Ryan. Now it's just his name, Ryan Johnson. And I actually found him through, apparently we shared, some of the same love for Chipotle. So, I found him because I was looking for Chipotle and 1 meal a day type videos, and I came across his channel, and I've been following him ever since. But, Ryan is someone that I've interacted with through the comments, and we've been interacting with, a little bit through email. Super cool dude. And that's what, one of the reasons why I wanted to have him channel. He's just a very personal person, very knowledgeable, and we're also we're trying to lose weight and something that's sustainable, and but first and foremost, Ryan, just want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for defending our freedom for this beautiful country. And would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, thanks, John. I really appreciate you having me on and excited to talk with you. And again, I like sharing this stuff because I feel like it has impacted me so much. And it's like when you find a good thing, it's hard not to share it. Yeah, so I have been intermittent fasting now for uh, over 2 years, probably about 2.5 years, and have been on YouTube for coming up on 2 years of that time. So there was about 6 months where I wasn't documenting my stuff, but have been intermittent fasting now. I really enjoy it, and I am somebody that has always struggled with my weight, and I feel like when I started doing intermittent fasting 2 years ago after COVID hit, and I had put on and gained a lot of weight, one of the things that I thought when I started intermittent fasting was I need to make this work for me long term so that I can get and stay healthy for the rest of my life. Because I've lost weight so many times only to put it back on. I really approached it with a mindset of I need to find something sustainable so that I can do it forever. Started having some success. People started asking me a lot of questions about what I was doing to lose weight. And then finally, I got the same question so many times. I was like, all right, I'm just going to start filming videos to answer these questions, which is kind of how I got into YouTube. Just posting answers to what I was doing and what I was up to. But glad to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for for doing this. I know you're super busy, but I'm glad we found time to do this. You mentioned that you've lost weight in the past, but you've put it on. Were you kind of like were you kind of experimenting with different diet trends, or what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that kind of was consistent was I always got to not a breaking point, but I would put on weight over large periods of time. So like I would go 3, 6, 8, 9 months, a year without even thinking about health and fitness. Then I would get big, and then I'd be like, all right, it's time to lose this weight. And I've done different stuff before. I've done like the bodybuilding 6 meals a day. I've done if it fits your macros where you can eat whatever you want as long as at the time I was like 50% protein, 30% carbs, 20% fat. As long as it was in those ratios, I could eat whatever I want. I just had to track every macro. I've done Weight Watchers before. I've done low carb before, and I did all those things. But every time that I did them, it was for the sole purpose of losing the weight that I had put on over a long period of time. And then once I got to the weight that I was tracking, which I always lost the weight, but then it's like I stopped doing anything healthy, and is this just this roller coaster. So with
Mhm.
intermittent fasting, I've thought, okay, I need to figure out how to do this and how I can make it sustainable, which is why I love fasting, is because it's so flexible, and it's something that for me personally I can do forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had similar experiences as well, where I've tried different things, and it worked in the beginning for a few months, and I know whatever gain or whatever weight I lost, I regained because you sometimes you just start off so strict, and you get to the point where it's like, oh, like screw it, I'm just gonna binge eat whatever I want. So you definitely gotta do it long term, and So for me, I start with 16 because there's different options for intermittent fasting. It's also very flexible. So I start with a 16-8, and I think I do the 18-6 format now. We know I fast for 18 hours and I eat for 6 hours. I think there's a common misconception of like is if you're within your eating window, you can eat whatever you want and as many calories as you want. Do you still limit your calorie intake, or how does your fasting work for you?
Yeah, no. So back on the early videos on my channel, one of the things that I talk about is you do have to track your calories.
Mhm.
And now here is my recommendation. I recommend a stair-step approach, which means you don't try to do everything today. Like if you've ever struggled to lose weight and you've done that roller coaster, you know what it's like to go all in and fall off the wagon. So I'm going
Mhm.
to recommend you try something different. And the try something different is go a little slower, do one thing at a time. The first thing is fasting. Once you have the fasting down, say 3 weeks to a month, then you add the next thing, which I recommend is calorie counting. Now, I don't recommend that you make huge adjustments to your calories, but you need to know how much you're eating, because at the end of the day, weight loss does come down to a calories in, calories out. And it does help to know how much you're eating, because at some point you may have to make adjustments to those calories. So track your calories for a month. All right, now that you've tracked them, all right, now it's time to start looking and see where we can reduce. Now, one of the other things that I know is we have to do this sustainably. So what that looks like for me is I have some high days and some low days. On a day where I'm good just eating some chicken and a salad, I'm going to do that and eat 1,300 calories, because I know there are going to be other days where I want to eat 3,200 calories. You can eat anything you want, you just can't eat everything you want. You do have to find a way to stay in a deficit, even with intermittent fasting. But it doesn't have to be a deficit every day. It could be a deficit over the course of a week.
Yeah, those are really good points there. One of the things that you mentioned in your videos that really stuck with me is that, and I'm paraphrasing here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned something to the effect of, don't let uh, don't let perfection kind of like get in the way of progress over time. And is that something that you've kind of learned, like from your past experiences?
Yeah, so that is absolutely something that I have been working on with the fasting, fitness, everything. So
Mhm.
much of this is absolutely mindset. Is intermittent fasting special? No, there's nothing magical about intermittent fasting than a lot of other diet nutrition regimens. But the reality is the one that's going to work best is the one that you can do long term. So for some people, that is keto. For some people, that
Mhm.
is vegan. So because I know that how I do it isn't important, it's all about the mindset. I have struggled with this all or nothing mentality for so long. That's one of the things that I committed to doing differently is, hey, listen, I'm going to go a little slower, and every day is not going to be perfect. But I'm just going to try to be a little better over time. And I can't recall where I heard the quote. It's a Voltaire quote: don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. But
There you
I
go.
try to implement that in my nutrition as well as now other areas of my life. Like sometimes we get so hung up on doing things perfectly that we never start or we don't continue to make progress, which is more important.
Yeah, definitely. And there are some days, where we'll eat more calories than we should, or maybe sometimes a little bit less. Do you kind of focus on your caloric intake from a day-to-day basis, or do you kind of like focus on a week to week? So like let's say on a Friday night you over ate by, I don't know, 800 calories. Do you try to make it up the rest of the week, or how does that look like for you?
So I'll say two things for that. One is I was better about tracking my calories when I started with fasting. So again, I kind of took my own advice. I didn't track calories the first month, but then I tracked all my calories for a year, and I just kind
Mhm.
of kept an eye on it. One of the things that I didn't get in the habit of is if I were to overeat on one day, I try not to go lower in the
Mhm.
following days, because I feel like that creates this cycle of um, I ate really good, so now I'm going to punish myself by eating little. And I feel like that kind of punishing yourself for eating food is a bad habit in and of itself. So what I like to do more is if I know I'm going to eat big, I've got a family thing coming up on the weekend, right? I'm going to eat a little less going into the weekend. That way I can reward myself versus punish myself. Does that make sense? And then on
Absolutely.
a day where I do eat big, say if I wasn't planning on eating big, and I didn't prep for it in the week going up, the following day, the thing that I have found to work best is to just jump right back into a regular day, not a low day, and just shrug it off. It was just a day. It's not going to do anything, and just keep moving on a regular pace versus over restricting following a big eating day. I have found that to be helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some days where like last week my family went to San Diego, went on a vacation, and then it's hard to eat clean when you're out. And so like I ate things that I shouldn't be eating for a couple days, and then on Monday it was kind of difficult to go back into clean eating because like you almost you spoil yourself. But yeah, if it was the old me, I would have said, oh, I ate 2 days bad. I'm screwed. I'm just gonna keep eating like that. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense that if you not slip up, but if you kind of like eat a little bit more than you should, then and that's the beautiful thing about intermittent fasting. You can always make up for it later. And in terms of like because I've seen some of your workout videos. They're really fun to watch, especially when they're at the gym. What does your workout usually look like?
So my workouts are definitely a product of how much free time I have. So what
Mm,
we're doing as a family and what I got work going on is going to dictate that. Now I do prioritize my fitness, and I'll say this. I try to get in 1 to 2 workouts a week. Ideally, I'm doing 2 or 3. Every once in a while, I'll get in like 4 a week. I shoot for that 2 to 3. And depending on how many workouts I'm getting in, I will make those tougher or easier. So if I'm only working out once for a week, I'll go really hard for that hour and a half to make it worthwhile. And the workouts that I'm doing are like bodybuilding style workouts. I probably enjoy those the most. I do probably 70% bodybuilding and 30% CrossFit style workouts. But I'm working out 2 to 3 days a week on average.
and do you usually work out in the morning or do you usually work out in the evening?
So I usually work out in the morning while fasted, and that's a question that I get a lot is when is the best time to work out? And
Mhm.
that's where I kind of go back and say the absolute best time to work out is whenever you can fit it into your schedule. I work out in the morning not because there isn't, you know, because I'm going to get extra results because I'm doing it fasted. That just is when it makes sense for my schedule. If it was in the evening time after I had started eating, that's good too. The priority is to work out when it fits in your schedule so that you can do it consistently. Because when you can be consistent, you will see the results. So many times we're looking for the perfect time to work out. We don't just get started. That's where you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just start working out whenever it fits into your schedule.
Man, I love that quote. It's interesting you brought that up because for me, for the past couple months, I've actually been playing basketball in the morning. Just get my cardio in, and then I'll work out, weightlifting towards the end of the or as I come home from work and try to wind down. But I realize that some days I'll put off weightlifting because I'm tired. It's a long day or whatever. I actually switched it around. Now I weightlift in the morning and I play basketball in the evening, and I found out to be a lot better because not only do I get the physical benefits of it, but when I work out in the morning, when I weightlift in the morning, it just sets my mind for a day. Do you feel like there's some obviously there's physical health benefits, but there's also do you think there's also mental health benefits with working out in the morning?
100%. 100%. There's definitely like I I see that the most on the weekends. So I am in a new job now where I'm off on the weekends. Saturday and Sundays, I am going to start my day with working out, and
Hmm.
it does set the tone for the weekends. Whereas before, I started kind of getting back into fitness and everything. If I didn't work out on Saturday or Sunday morning and I didn't have to go to work, meaning I didn't have to be productive, I wouldn't be productive. But I woke up, was active this morning, got a little exercise in, and then I ended up getting a bunch of housework done, got grocery shopping done. Like I've done all sorts of stuff, edited a bunch of YouTube videos. Like I have had a productive day, and I definitely have way more of those when it starts with exercise.
Yeah. Again, I agree with, because I've had, very similar experiences, and you mentioned earlier, you mentioned that you gained some weight during a pandemic. Obviously, because I don't know what it was like for you in Florida. I heard Florida never closed down, but in California, things were pretty strict here. So can you walk me a little bit through like how um I guess like how kind of like how your day to day looked in terms of like eating or working out, because it doesn't seem like it's as good as it now.
And yeah, so my working out was none. I worked out zero.
Hmm.
I worked out zero. When COVID hit, the job that I was at before, we like did an automatic layoff of like 15% of our workforce like 2 weeks in. Now I was not part of that, but like you said, Florida didn't close down. So shortly after we laid 15% of our workforce off, all the business came back. So I was working like 70, 80-hour weeks. I was just stressed to the max. Um, but as far as my daily routine looks like, and I actually have been wanting to film this video for a while, and I absolutely need to do it because I do all these what I eat in a days. But what I haven't done is what I ate in a day when I was, 275 pounds, like before I had lost the 70 pounds, and what that looked like for me. I could tell you, here it is exactly. I would wake up, get the girls ready, get them off to school like I'm doing now, except then after that, I would go to Hardee's and I would get 2 or 3 chicken biscuits, and I
Hmm.
would eat 2 or 3 chicken biscuits. And then, so that would be, call that 8 o'clock in the morning. And then at some point, just the nature of my job, I was on the road seeing customers. So I was out driving around a lot, stop, get gas, and get spicy Doritos, or my favorite was the chili lime rolled up Doritos. Love those things. Would get the chili lime rolled up Doritos and maybe a taquito or something from the gas station. Then I
Hmm.
would go to Whataburger and get a double Whataburger with cheese, a large fry. I would eat that. Then I'd go to the Baskin Robbins because after lunch I needed a dessert. And I would
Hmm.
go and get a milkshake from Baskin Robbins, and then maybe something else from the gas station, and then come home and eat a regular dinner with Carrie, whatever she happened to be cooking, or if we went out dinner, and then would finish off with dessert, ice cream of some kind. I have never done the math on that. I'm afraid I need to do that in a video. I mean, I was probably no, I was probably eating 8,000 calories
Hmm.
easy, and a lot of that was stress and depression. Um, but that's kind of what a lot of my days look like, which is why, I mean, I put on 70 pounds after getting out of the army. Was That was every day, just about every day.
Hmm. Yeah, I've seen some of your videos, and it looks like I used to work in sales, but it looks like you still work in sales, and sales, it's one of the more stressful jobs, if not the most stressful, because you're always trying to hit your quotas, and sometimes you talk to customers and you do everything you can and they don't buy, and you're like, oh, am I gonna lose? You start like catastrophizing, where you're like, oh, am I gonna lose my job? Am I gonna hit my weekly quota? But now, I'm in a community with other gig workers, so we do like DoorDash, Uber Eats. A lot of people do ride shares. Some people do Instacart. So we're all in our cars, kind of like you were, a couple of years ago, where a lot of us, we work 20, 30 miles away from home, so it's difficult for us to go get something healthy. And especially in my case, just like you, like for me, I used to get a lot of energy drinks. I'll grab my favorite snack, so I can definitely relate to what you're referring to. For a lot of us, who work away from home, who are basically in our cars, 8, 10, 12, some of them even work 16 hours a day. Do you kind of have any advice for us in terms of like how to make healthier choices while we're out on the road?
Yeah. So I think with that, one of the things that um, my recommendation is, and it is tough for call it the first 3, 4 weeks when you're fasting. You do
Hmm.
have to muscle through some of those hunger pangs, but um, if you can make it to the other side of that, depending on what your schedule is, one of the things that helped me to keep my sanity, because I hate dieting. You restrict so hard, and it's like, if you watch what I eat now, and what I eat now is different than what I was eating 2 years ago when I started this. Like, even you can see I'm starting to clean up my diet a little bit.
Hmm.
I was eating a lot more fried chicken tenders. I have cut those out. But when you were starting, I don't recommend you restrict what you eat. So one of the things that I did, or my recommendation is, hey, listen, don't think of this as I can't eat, I can't eat, I can't eat, because it's that kind of negative talk that now you're driving around 12 hours thinking about all the things you can't eat. Put a positive flip on that and think about all the things that you can eat when your eating window opens. I'm going to have an awesome meal. I'm going to go to Chipotle and get a 1,600 calorie bowl. It's going to be absolutely delicious. It's going to be filling. And I can eat that at 6 o'clock tonight instead of 10 hours a day thinking, man, I can't have this. I can't have this. Like, so much of this is mindset. So that's my advice is, if, as you're driving around away from home, don't think about all the foods that you can't have or how you can have the healthiest small things throughout the day. Just think, I just need to hold on until 4 o'clock, and then you can spend that time planning the awesome meal you are going to have, whatever that happens to be.
You know what? That's a good point that you brought up, because for me, and people, they kind of joke around with it, because I usually do a live stream where I'm eating Chipotle and we just hang out, and I answer some questions in the live chat. But like, John, you're always eating Chipotle, why don't you just get a sponsorship while you're at it? I'm like, I wish I could,
Seriously.
but yeah, I just like you mentioned, I always, sometimes when I get hungry, because for me, I eat breakfast around 7 or 8. I wish I could fast, but I try to eat something so I can take my vitamins before I head out, because I'm kind of worried about having my vitamins in the car with the heat that we have here in California. So I eat, like, I usually eat egg whites in the morning, and then I'll have that Chipotle bowl around 3 or 4 p.m., and then I'll start fasting after that. Um, but in terms of there are a lot of times where where I feel stressed out, and I used to depend on food, to kind of get me through those stressful moments. Have you been able to kind of find ways around that, where you're using something else instead of stress eating?
I don't know that I have the answer for that yet. I still
Still
start.
looking.
I still, I still struggle with that. I do, like, that's why, even like me, like, so I've been doing this now for 2 years. I'm like 215 pounds right now. I think I am putting on some muscle. I think just kind of looking at myself and seeing what I'm doing in the gym. Some of the weight I have put back on is muscle. I know that I'm getting a little bigger in a good way,
Mhm,
but I'm not down to like 190 pounds yet, because I still struggle with overeating.
mhm.
I don't have the answer. I've listened to some audiobooks like Never Binge Again. I can't remember what it's called. I listened to it last year, and there was some good stuff. I'm working on it. I don't know that I have the answer. There's a video on the page that I talk with. I actually did an interview with Dr. Suri, and he talked to
Mhm,
me and gave some tips for stress eating and things like that. The thing that I obviously you need to work on for stress eating, and this was the biggest tip that he had that I do try to be conscious of, is what is causing you the stress and how can you reduce that. So the thing that was causing me the stress before, when I was eating crazy, was I was in a job that I hated, so I left that
mhm.
job. So eliminate some of the reasons for the stress, and by proxy you will eliminate some of the stress eating. It's not an easy answer, but something to be thinking about.
Mhm. And Tony, the Driven Dad, says, I found sparkling water is good for helping hunger. Have you tried drinking sparkling water, Ryan?
Oh, for sure. So drinking absolutely helps with hunger. I'm drinking water and coffee all the time. And then I'm starting to get into sparkling waters now, because, like I said before, I'm starting to clean out my diet. But when I
Mhm.
started this, I would do diet sodas and diet energy drinks. There are plenty in the intermittent fasting community. They're like, that's not fasting. That's not fasting. Well, to them, I say, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. If I'm
Exactly.
doing 90% good and I have a diet soda, it's my life. Like, calm down. um, but drinking stuff absolutely helps with hunger and keeps my mind occupied and my stomach full. And the other thing, a huge tip, I don't know that I've heard other people, I'm sure other people have said this, but one of my tips for dealing with hunger is set a stopwatch on your watch for an hour. If
Mhm.
at the end of the hour you're still hungry, then eat something.
I love
But
that idea.
nine times out of 10, when that hour comes around, you're going to be like, I don't feel hungry anymore, because a lot of the times the thing that makes us hungry is our body releases this thing called ghrelin, this hormone that it's not your body physically saying you need food. It's a chemical in your brain telling you to seek out food, but that gets released in waves. So if you wait an hour, that may not be released anymore and you may not feel hungry. So wait an hour is a great tip, because you can do anything for an hour. You could stand on your head for an hour. So when you get really hungry, and that is a trick that I use, when I get really hungry, I set my thing for an hour. And if I'm still hungry at that time, well, then I'm going to allow myself to eat, because maybe I do need the food. But 9 times out of 10, the hour comes and it's like, oh, you know what? I'm not hungry anymore. I'm glad I pushed through that little bit of inconvenience.
Yeah, definitely, and I love that idea. That's such a good hack, because yeah, you're right. Sometimes you eat and you're eating, and 5 minutes later you're like, oh, I'm still hungry. But then, if you eat too much, then an hour later you're like, oh man, I ate way too much. And if you watch some of these food challenge videos like Matt Stoney or Nathan Figueroa or some of the other ones, there, when they're doing the eating challenge, they're trying to eat as fast as they can. So before that chemical kicks in, letting them know that they're full. So that's a really good point. Do you watch any of these challenge videos or anything as
I,
entertainment?
I haven't in a while. I remember not when YouTube was just starting out. All the like the Coney Island hot dog. Like I have
Hmm.
seen those videos before, and it's a sport to watch those guys eat.
It really is. Yeah, for sure. So what does your go to Chipotle bowl look like? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I used to be a brown rice only guy, thinking it
Hmm.
was healthier, but now it's probably 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So white rice, pinto beans, steak,
Hmm.
mild salsa or the pico de gallo,
Hmm.
just a little bit of hot. Sometimes I'll have them put the hot on the side because that hot is hot. So I'll have them
Hmm.
put that on the side and so I can add it myself. Sour cream cheese. I'm a fairly simple guy. I do not like lettuce at all. Like keep
Hmm.
that out of my bowl. Peppers and onions, I'm not a big fan of, but that's my standard bowl. And then if I'm feeling like I need more food in, that's when I'll have them add guac. I don't add the guac because I really like the way it tastes. Because when it gets mixed together, you can't really taste that there's guac in there.
Right.
I'll have them add guac when I'm looking to get in enough calories. But rice, beans, steak, sour cream, cheese, a little bit of salsa. What about you?
That's a good bowl for me. I used to get lettuce, but ever since they had the health problems with lettuce, I stopped getting it. I forgot what it was. I think the norovirus or something like that. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, yeah, like keep that away from my from my bowl. I like the fact, I like Chipotle how you can customize stuff. I try to go easy on the rice because I noticed that they have a pretty heavy hand when it comes to the rice. So I usually do light rice. I go black beans. I do half chicken, half steak because I usually have trouble, figuring out which one I want. So I get half and half. I get all the salsas. I get light sour cream, light cheese, and guacamole, and extra fajitas for volume.
Hmm. That's good. It's funny that you say that about the rice, because I can't tell you how many people have commented on my Chipotle videos, and I
Hmm.
just had another one come. I eat at Chipotle a lot, so I got a lot of Chipotle videos. Um, I think according to the website, the bowl that I get is like 13 to 1500 calories, and people are
Or
like,
at
"That's
least it's
only
supposed to be.
13 to 1500 calories." We're like, "No, if you could see them scooping in,
Yep.
there is no way the bowl that I'm eating is only 1,200 calories. It's probably over 1,900. Like, they are some heavy-handed scoops sometimes, especially with like the sour cream and the cheese. If you don't go light on that, like one uh, spoon of the sour cream and boom, 120 calories. Like
Yep.
that easy.
One of the things I noticed is that corn, and I didn't know this about corn, but apparently it's very starchy and has a lot of carbs. So do you go easy on the corn, or do you even get corn at all?
So I don't get it for that reason.
Okay.
Because it's high in calories and I can't tell the difference when it's in the bowl. Like when it's all mixed in, it's
Hmm.
like I ate an extra 150 calories, but didn't really get that much extra food. Whereas the salsa is the opposite. They could pile the salsa on high and you're never going to get 80 calories of that. And
Right.
that fills you up and it has hardly no calories in it.
For me, I gotta get my corn. I know when it's not in there. Well, the thing is that I don't mix it. Maybe I should start mixing it. I don't mix it. I just like leaving it
Yeah,
like that.
there's a big debate out there about mixing, and I don't know why I mix it. I just always have, but I
Hmm.
put it in the bowl and mix it up, and people are like, "Oh, that's sacrilegious."
Yeah, I think it just comes down to personal preference. We're getting some great comments here. Carlos says, "I heard that drinking water or eating a salad before a meal can help with preventing overeating." Have you tried anything like that, Ryan?
Yeah. So again, man, my idea is 5, 6 years from now. I keep pushing the time out because I want to go slower and slower.
Hmm.
Eventually, I would love to be picture perfect health. Everything that you see influencers say that they're doing, I would like to be doing it for real, but that means
Hmm.
it's going to take me time to get there. So I've got a whole list of unhealthy things that I'm doing. And if I was not smart, I would try to be super healthy all the time, do all these things. But the reality is, if you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing. But one of the things on the list that I know I need to change is I eat too fast. I know I eat way too fast.
Same.
I I would eat less if I could eat slower. So that is something I absolutely need to work on. I don't drink while I eat, which they say that's helpful because you eat some food, you drink some water, you eat some food, you drink some water. It gives you that feeling of being full. I know that I don't do that. So that's something at some point I'm going to try to work on all of those unhealthy things.
Hmm.
But right now, the next one that I'm working on is my nutrition and trying to eat healthier foods. But at some point, eating slower is definitely on the list because I eat fast.
I forgot who it was, but someone told me a long time ago that they had a bad habit of eating fast too, and they start eating with chopsticks regardless of what they ate. Have you tried that?
I have not heard that. I mean, I totally see it. Man, that's funny. That's
Hmm.
interesting. That's an interesting idea. I mean, I
It, it forces you to for because you're taking less food, so yeah, I guess
yeah.
it forces you to slow down. We have a couple people chiming in with their favorite Chipotle bowls. Carlos says, "All I eat at Chipotle is a double steak and rice. That's it with green salsa." I don't know how you do that, man. I can't do that. I gotta have more flavors. Tony says, "Minus pinto, fajita veggies, barbacoa, cheese, guacamole, and green salsa." And yeah, that's the good thing about Chipotle. It's very customizable. Do you have any other like kind of go to meals or go to places when you're out and about other than Chipotle, Ryan?
So, you know, I absolutely need to do a video at this place because there's certain places that I've eaten at before that I just haven't been since I've been recording these videos. But a good one, I don't know how national they are, is Pollo Tropical. Do y'all have those in California?
No, we don't. I think that's a Miami or Florida thing.
So Pollo Tropical is a great one, and I'm sure you've got to have something wherever you are that is similar. It's essentially based around like rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
So it's a rotisserie chicken place, but because they've got a bunch of them cooking, they've always got them ready, so they're able to do it fast food style. So you can get either a quarter of chicken, half chicken, whole chicken, and then
Hmm.
fresh sides like rice, beans. It's a Hispanic place, but any place that's serving rotisserie style chickens. I have eaten other places like when I was stationed in Kentucky. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but there was another one similar. Boston Market. I don't know if they're
Mm.
still around,
I heard
but
they're closing.
similar kind of idea. Any place that serves rotisserie chicken is a good go-to because you can go there and get a good meal that is healthy. I try to stay away, for the most part, fast food burger places unless
Mm.
I'm in the mood for it. I'm not going to go to a burger place every day because it's going to be too hard to get something good every day. It's good every once in a while, um, but I just can't. I wouldn't go there every day. Another good thing, man, if you want to not spend too much money and don't care about what people think, which I don't,
Hmm.
go into a grocery store and buy rotisserie chicken.
Hmm.
Man, $7, it's already cooked, and you can eat that's one meal. You know,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
you don't
I'm
get the
glad you
rest
brought
of
that
it.
up because Costco has $5 rotisserie chicken. Have you tried that?
Yeah, $5. Are you kidding me?
It's a
You can't
steal.
beat you can't beat that.
Yeah, we don't have Pollo Tropico, but we have smaller, like some of them are chains, but they only have a few locations or mom and pop shops. So we definitely have them out here. Um, Carlos says in South Cali, it's one Pollo. I've never heard of them, even though they're in my market, but there's a bunch out here. The other Carlos says, I think focusing on soups and salads can make all difference. At this time, I can't exclusively eat that, but I think adding more helps. Yeah. Again, just like regular food, soups and salads, they sound healthy, but it's all about what you put in there, right? Like if you get a salad, put a bunch of ranch on it, then you're kind of defeating the purpose. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, no, that's where I think you should find the foods that you enjoy eating that are
Hmm.
a little healthier over time. If you enjoy eating salads, eat more salads. If you don't enjoy eating it, so you should never eat a food that you are thinking, I have to eat this because it's the healthy thing to eat.
Hmm.
Because what happens when you're eating that is you're resenting it. You're resenting yourself. You're thinking, man, this is terrible. I went on vacation a few weeks ago and ate pretty healthy through the vacation. Now, some people may disagree, but knowing what I've eaten in the past on vacation, I ate pretty healthy during the vacation.
Hmm.
But there was times where I ate a salad, but the point that I like to make is I was eating the salad because I wanted the salad. And because I wanted the salad, I'm going to be able to eat another salad because I enjoyed it. Whereas if I was on vacation and ate the salad because I was thinking, I have to do this right now, I'd leave the vacation and resent it. So you should never eat a food because it's the healthy food. With that being said, every once in a while, incorporate it. And then over time, that's when you develop a taste for it. But we
Hmm.
need to build the habit of eating healthy food, not force ourselves into eating it because eventually our willpower is going to give out and we're going to stop.
Absolutely. Sometimes when I hear you speak, it's just like it's almost like me describe my own experiences. We've we share a lot of the same experiences, but I kind of want to talk to you about other than obvious health reasons and stuff. Why did you get into weight loss, and why did you choose intermittent fasting? Like what's at the deepest core? What are the reasons why you wanted to do this for yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to grow up and live with my girls and maybe grandkids, hopefully. And I want to be healthy for a long life.
Hmm.
Um, I have parents and I know people that have kids and grandkids and can't do things with them because they're physically limited. And I was absolutely on that path. So I want to get and live a healthy life for my girls, 100%. That's my why. That's my reason. Now, when it comes down to intermittent fasting, this is where it comes to, hey, listen, even I will admit there's no magic to intermittent fasting. But because over the course of my life, I have done so many different diets, intermittent fasting is one that I had done before and had success with it. The difference is when then people are like, well, then how'd you put the weight back on? Is because the first time I did intermittent fasting, like I talked about at the beginning of this, is I did intermittent fasting with the goal of losing a certain period of weight. And then after I lost the weight, I let go of the fasting and then
Hmm.
got back into my old eating habits and put the weight back on. So because I want to get healthy for my girls and for the rest of my life, I thought, all right, how am I going to do this? I've got to do it slow. I've got to do something that is sustainable. And when I looked back on all the different diets that I had tried before, when I thought about my time with intermittent fasting, I thought, you know what? That wasn't too hard. Because when I was doing low carb, 6 meals a day bodybuilding, that was tough. I mean, I got
Hmm.
shredded doing that. I was like 8% body fat. I looked great for like 2 weeks and then put all the weight back on. But when I remember being 8% body fat, every day was tough. It was tough to eat the chicken and the broccoli and rice, and I was always hungry. So I knew I couldn't keep that up. But when I looked back on my little experience with intermittent fasting, I was like, you know what? I could have done that forever. If I had just stuck with it, I'd be happy doing it. So that's why I chose intermittent fasting, is because at its core, for me, it was the most sustainable. If you can find something else that is sustainable for you, whether it's keto or low carb, all of those things work. The one that's going to work best is the one you can stick with forever. So that's why I chose intermittent fasting.
Yeah, same here. I tried, the whole I've actually lost 50 pounds twice on two different occasions. Once before when I was 23, 24 years old before I moved to San Diego and basically just partied it up at San Diego State and gained it all back. And then the other 50 pounds was right before lockdowns hit, and then just similar to you, I kind of like gained all that weight back, just because of everything going on in the world and stress and all this stuff. But yeah, now I'm having a lot of success with intermittent fasting. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I get to have my Chipotle bowl if I want to, and I have a light breakfast and I fast for the rest of the day, and I'm losing weight, so it's great. Tony says, "Have you heard of Thomas Lauer?" It's funny you brought him up because we were talking about him before the stream.
So I have heard of Thomas Lauer, and the crazy thing about him is, like 3 months ago, he posted something on his YouTube channel on his community page. He did like a 16-mile ruck march, I think, or was it
Mhm.
35 miles? Some crazy long ruck march. And he was like, "Who's down to do this next year?" And I just commented, "I'm in." And just, because I was like, "Man, he's freaking awesome." And
Mhm.
then he replied to my comment. And in his comment to me, he said, "I had no idea you followed my channel. I'm such a huge fan." And I, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, I mean, I felt like I was 10 feet tall walking on clouds the rest of the day. I couldn't believe that Thomas DeLauer knew who I was. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I'm a huge fan of Thomas DeLauer. Super fan. Watch all of his stuff. Um, but yeah, man, when he replied to my comment, I was like, "Get out of here!" That was nuts. That was nuts. It's still nuts. I want to get goosebumps now. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's great. I really like his videos where he goes to like Target or Walmart and picks out things that are supposed to be healthier, which is stuff like me and you, like the average person. We all make choices about it every day. So yeah, it was really cool. And I think he's in my neck of the woods. Because I recognize some of the places that he goes to. I think he lives out in like Palmdale, Lancaster, which is kind of like a deserty area. I think it's because like a ranch or something. But that's a side topic. But I'm glad you brought up the fact that you can't believe Thomas DeLauer follows you and all stuff. Let's talk about your growth on YouTube because you've actually exploded. So I think when I first found you, you had like 30,000 subscribers or something. I'm like, you know what? Let me go grab a sandwich. I come back and you're at 85,000 subscribers. So can you talk to me about like what it's like just having and rightfully so, you make awesome content. So what has it been like just going through that process of gaining all that exposure all at once? It seems like.
Yeah, so it has been really fast, and a quote that I have heard in relation to YouTube and other things, but overnight successes don't actually happen overnight.
Hmm.
A lot of people see the growth on the channel and they're like, "Man, you're just taking off like a rocket." But what they don't see is I was on YouTube for a year and a half, and coming into this last January, I was at like 2,500 subscribers. So after a year and a half of slogging, I picked up 2,500 subscribers. And I went through another career transition last year, and there was a period of like a month and a half where I wasn't uploading YouTube videos. And after I had kind of resettled back into my job at Publix, I was like, "Okay, time to get back onto YouTube." Started publishing videos again, regular long form videos. And then in January, I was like, I wanted to continue to grow the channel, but I was at a stalemate for my regular videos. I was like, "All right, I'm going to start posting these shorts just to keep my creative juices flowing."
Hmm.
Started posting 2 or 3 a week, just what I eat in a day, just because they were quick. I could film them on my phone, edit them on my phone, get them uploaded. And I started doing that in January. And then in February, I had one start to take off. And it was getting like a few thousand views a day, which was nuts for me because at the time I was getting like 2,000 views a month across the channel.
Right.
And then I was like, "Man, these shorts are starting to take off." So then I doubled down on shorts, which has fueled most of my growth. Is this TikTok style shorts videos. And after posting those for 2 months in March, around the March timeframe, is when I actually came up with a strategy and have been executing on that strategy with shorts and have continued to see the growth.
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed the same thing too. Shorts are a great way, and trust me, I know. You know, especially when you're first starting out on YouTube, people don't realize it until they start, making a channel for themselves. But it's an absolute grind in the beginning. Seems like you're making a bunch of really good videos. You know, you got thumbnails down, you got your titles down, your thumbnails down, and it gets like 25 views. But you just got to keep going. And Tony, what was his comment? Oh, he said that. So Tony's trying to lose weight as well. He actually has a really good channel as well. Him, his wife, and his 5 kids. They kind of do DoorDash and Uber Eats, but he wants to start a separate channel about, I guess I'm assuming weight loss and his health. Do you have any advice for him?
Well, it's good that he said he wanted to start a channel for that, because I do think that when you have a channel that is specific, you're going to grow faster because you're going to build an audience that wants to see the same thing every time. Like, think about the channels that you watch on YouTube. Generally, all their content is the same topic. So if you've got a channel already and you want to have a different idea, it is good to have a separate channel for that. And the thing that has helped me is just learning about kind of storytelling and what is your story. And that has helped me with the shorts. That is the strategy that I have implemented. Is I'm trying to be a better storyteller. What is my story? Just a regular guy working 40 hours a week with a wife that works, raising girls, trying to also figure out how I can be healthy. That's my long story. And then in each individual short is a short story. Here's what I ate today. So it's like learning how to tell story about my kind of journey.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to ask you was that I noticed that in your shorts and a lot of your videos now you have your beautiful family in there. Did you originally start off like that, or was it kind of like just you in the beginning in the videos?
No, it was just me, and
Okay.
I kind of play around with that as well, like if how my comfort level, if you will. So I am still trying to figure out where those boundaries are. I don't want people have asked and said, "Hey, you need to start a family channel." I don't think, because honestly, I don't know that I want that kind of exposure for the whole family.
Right.
Carrie is not, doesn't is not the biggest fan of being in the videos, which again, we're all different people. I'm an extrovert by nature. She's an introvert by nature. So it's like we go well together because of that. But, her desire to be on camera all the time and capture all that stuff is low. And if that's the case, well, so I'm going to keep it to my health journey is what the channel's about. But a part of my health journey is my family. So they will be
Exactly.
incorporated in that sense, if it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And this might be a little bit hard to track, but like, did you notice that did your videos and your channel did they kind of start taking off once you start getting your family in there? Because people love that.
No, I think the thing that helped me take off is to um, continuing to be consistent. So
Hmm.
part of me thinks, do I want to stop doing these what I eat in a day videos like they're getting old? But they're not. They're not getting old because they keep getting views. Like people do want to see the same thing over and over again. Like we may not want to say it, but
Hmm.
the reality is like there's a reason The Simpsons and South Park has been on the air for 30 years.
Right.
Like they keep making them because people keep wanting to see them. Um, so the channel has continued to grow, and by showing a little bit of my family or by doing inside jokes, that helps the people that are on the journey. It feels good to see an inside joke, right? I have creators that I watch, and when they say something, you like, oh, I know why that's important because I
Hmm.
was there 3 months ago when this happened. Now to the new viewer, they may not even get it. Like if I eat pork rinds and key lime pie, they may not
Hmm.
get it. But for the OGs, they're like, oh man,
We all know what your favorite key lime pie is at Publix.
exactly.
By the way, so if you could eat one thing or one food item for 1 year, what would it be?
It would be one or two things. because
I think I know what it is.
I think about this a lot because I have an 8-year-old daughter and we play hypotheticals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It would either be pizza because it's customizable, right? I could eat the same thing but different for a year, or I love Mexican food too, man. I'd love like going to a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, I could do that. Like tacos, yeah. Do you have any good tacos in California? Are there any good tacos out there?
Man, where do I start?
Have you had those birra tacos or whatever it is?
Oh,
Those ones
birria,
that,
yeah, birria with the consomme, yeah. It's like basically a birria. I think it's beef, Carlos, or we have some taco aficionados in the chat. But I think birria is like a different type of beef, but it's almost like a stew. So you get the birria taco, and then you dip it in the consomme, which is like the broth, I believe. So good,
those look incredible.
it does. But yeah, you got to get them from the good spots. Not every spot prepares it correctly. I saw what was it called? I don't know if you guys have Bob Fresh out there in Florida, but they came out with birria tacos. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try that. It's just not authentic.
That's funny.
Let's see. Let me see if I missed any comments. By the way, appreciate you guys, everyone who commented so far. I think Casey said that he started intermittent fasting as well, and I believe Tony does intermittent fasting as well. So let's say someone, they don't know about either of our channels. They want to lose weight. They've heard about keto. Maybe they've heard about intermittent fasting. Maybe they haven't. What type of advice would you give to someone like that?
The first thing is it all starts with mindset. You got to realize that you've tried to lose weight and you have been successful lose weight in the past before only to put it back on. So let's try something different. And the thing that we're going to do different is we're going to take a slow and steady approach to weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes time for fasting, I don't want you to try to do 5 things at once. I don't want you to start fasting and getting in 10,000 steps a day and drinking a gallon of water and eating under 2,000 calories and no processed foods and do morning meditations and cold showers. Like, don't try to change your whole life today, because that idea that we can do that is a fallacy that's like been placed on us by, all these fitness gurus. The reality is just pick one thing and start with that. So if you want to start with fasting, stop eating at 8 p.m. Don't start eating again until noon. That's the only thing I want you to do. Don't count calories. Don't change your kind of food. Don't walk 10,000 steps. Do everything the same. Just stop eating at 8, start eating again at noon, have water or black coffee in that time frame. And when you can do that for a month and that becomes habit, so much so that you enjoy it, you don't even have to think about it. Well, now let's try to do another habit, then another habit. You build a habit every month or two so that at the end of 3 years, now you're doing 8 or 9 healthy things without even thinking about them, because it's part of who you are. So the first piece of advice is you have to take a long-term approach and realize it's going to take you years to get there. But if I could tell you that I could snap my finger and you could lose all the weight that you want to lose overnight, but 2 years from now, you had a 95% chance of putting all that weight back on plus some, or you could take 2 years to get to that weight, but then you'd keep it off for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Slow and steady.
Mm-hmm. That's facts right there. And I do what I refer to as daily routine coaching. And one of the things that I talk about is, one of the things that I talked about with my clients is that yes, we want to see short-term results, but it's also sustainability. I don't want to make your daily routine so strict that you're going to come back to me in 2-3 months and you reverted back to your old habits. So I agree with you there. We actually have a really good question. Cole J Style. She says, "What's your average fiber intake? What supplements do you take, if any?"
So fiber, I'm not tracking. It's it's just a macronutrient that I don't track. So I couldn't tell you what my fiber is.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that over the last 6 months, I have been eating more vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. Prior to that, there was like none. I was strictly a processed food kind of thing. And then as far as supplements go, I have just started taking 2 supplements over the last 2 months. Again, I went 2 years with no supplements. And part of the reason for that is It's not that I don't believe in supplements. Supplements absolutely will help, but supplements are not a magic pill either. Supplement companies want you to think that this supplement is the reason you're not reaching your goal. So you take it, but then you don't reach your goal. Well, then they've got another one to sell you, like they're selling you. Supplements absolutely have their place. The reason that I waited so long to take them was because supplements will help give you that little extra boost. Go as far as you can without them, then get that little extra boost. The long answer to the short question is I'm taking creatine right now, and I'm taking a supplement called Jumpstart, which is an intermittent fasting specific supplement to help focus and weight loss. A guy reached out to me on Instagram, had just recently started up this company and sent me some to try. So I have been taking that. So I like to be transparent in everything. So those are the two supplements I take. But understand, I went 2 years with nothing.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I used to, before I learned about supplements, I used to, I'm not gonna lie, I bought the whey, I bought the creatine, I bought the casein, all this stuff, without really knowing. I just watched my favorite bodybuilders and bought the stuff they buy. And for me, fast forward to now that I know a lot more, and a lot of people know that I work out on stuff. They ask about creatine, and I basically tell them that because they think it's kind of like whey, but it's more about get your body essentially holds more water, so you can get a better pump. Do you think that the average person working out, do you think that they could benefit from creatine, or what are your
Yeah, so
thoughts?
if you're working out a lot, if you're working out 3 to 4 days a week, you could benefit from creatine. That is one of the things that I have seen. Is I just filmed a video last weekend, and I talk about like during the lift, like, man, I can tell where the creatine is working because normally, so I was doing flat bench dumbbell presses like 80 or 90 pounds, and I did 12 or 13, which I have done before. But then on the second set, I would get 12 or 13 again, whereas before I would get 12 or 13 on the first set, and the second set I'd get like 8, a dramatic drop off on the second set. But my recovery and everything during the workout, I could tell was better on creatine. That's the biggest difference I've seen, is it does help me get a few more reps out. Nothing,
Exactly.
again, nothing crazy, nothing magical, but a few more reps. Definitely a noticeable difference.
Also, from what I've heard and learned about creatine, is that it's okay to use it in the short term, but I don't think it's meant for long term use.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that in there. Steamboat Tech, another really good channel. He says, "Don't forget to mention sleep, crucial for improving body health." And I would argue that's really good for your mental health as well. What do you think, Ryan?
I agree. That, unfortunately, for me, is one of those things on the list of I know I'm not good at right now.
Me too.
It's on the list of things I will work on at some point, is my sleep hygiene. I haven't done it yet, but I need to, for sure.
Exactly.
I don't. Sleep is absolutely crucial. I think when I struggle with my phone, I need to be better about turning it off.
Me too. I'm a night owl by nature, and going to college and procrastinating also didn't help either. Steamboat Tech is better. Drink a lot of water, homie. That stuff is rough on the kidneys. I mean, I feel like anything that's not really, or anything processed, it's not really good for our bodies. But yeah, I agree with drinking a lot of water for sure.
For sure.
Do you take any form of pre-workout, Ryan, before you work out?
So I have taken a few scoops of it because I want to document this stuff. I did buy Ghost, and I've taken that like 3 times, but that's only been 3 times in the last like month. Every once in a while for a workout, I'll take it. But I try to take that when I know I'm doing only one lift during the week. So like I said before, if I'm only going to be lifting once, I want to get the most out of it. So there are times where it's like, all right, I'm going to go hit it today and I need to give it everything I got. But generally, I'm not looking for the pre-workout because I'm not very sensitive to caffeine, which that's a big thing in pre-workout. So it's not like I get that rush. I just get the pump. But I just generally don't need it too much. So I'm not opposed to pre-workouts, but no, I'm not taking one regularly.
Yeah, same. And like I mentioned earlier, I used to be really big on energy drinks because I'm a caffeine junkie. It's just it's a part of my type A go-getter personality. Like the more I can achieve, the better. But like with caffeine, including pre-workout, you just got to be careful with the amount of caffeine that they put in there because it's a lot. Like I had an energy drink, what was like a couple of days ago, and it said like 200 milligrams or something. I'm like, I'm not drinking this again. But that seems to be the average amount in energy drinks. I know you mentioned that you're not very sensitive to caffeine, but I guess like what's your overall look on caffeine? Because as a society, as we work longer hours and do more, we're going to see more energy types products. What do you think about that, or what are your thoughts?
I don't have too much of an opinion on all of us moving to caffeine. I think
Hmm.
assess your individual tolerance. Me, I'm probably doing 900 to 1,000 milligrams a day.
Hmm.
I'm guessing because what's a cup of coffee got, like 80?
Yeah, about 60, 80, I believe.
So maybe I'm doing 4 cups of coffee a day, and then some days I'll do 1 or 2 energy drinks. So maybe I'm averaging like 700 milligrams a day, but that may
Hmm.
be one day 400, one day 1,300.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
gonna be I'm gonna be having crazy headaches when I come off caffeine. I know I am.
you're thinking about doing like a caffeine detox.
I mean, again, that's one of those things on the list.
Yeah.
One of the things at some point I would like to come off of caffeine to see how I do, but that's not going to be tomorrow. That's for sure.
Definitely. I love your slow and steady approach. It definitely keeps me grounded. It keeps me in check. That's one of the reasons why one of the many reasons why I like checking out our channel. And also, guys, as we're wrapping up, if you guys have any questions, any questions for myself or for Ryan, definitely post them in live chat, and then we'll answer them to the best of our ability. But yeah, Ryan, again, appreciate you stopping by. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything that you want to share?
No, man. Again, I thank you very much for having me on. Like I said, I can't recall if I said it before we went live or not, but really, I do enjoy sharing this stuff. I feel like it
Mhm.
has made a big impact for me and want to share. You know, if I could help 100 people leave behind diet culture and the vicious cycle of gain and lose, that's what I'm about. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with you and kind of share a little bit of my insights. But it's been nice talking to somebody from the other coast.
Yeah, awesome, man. You're a friend of the channel. You're always welcome back on for sure. And Tony says I'm intermittent fasting my sleep. Yeah, Tony barely gets any sleep. He says he has a 6-hour sleep window.
Done.
Uh, Carlos has a good question. He said, "Is it okay to eat carbs so long as it's early in the day so it can be burned off?" What do you think, Ryan?
So I'm not a big uh, carbs when carb timing. I prefer to eat carbs later in the day because
Hmm.
how my body reacts. If I eat carbs early, I want a nap. Like I definitely feel that carb
Yep.
crash, like
Food coma.
100%. Which is one of the reasons that I love fasting. Is I'm just going to put it off eating until later in the day. I'm
Hmm.
going to eat before going to bed, and then I'm going to sleep really good or try to sleep good. So I push my carbs later in the day for that reason.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Like we were talking about earlier with Chipotle and the rice. If you're not careful with that rice, it could definitely put you in a food coma with along with everything else in the bowl. But Ryan, thanks again for stopping by. And where can people find you other than YouTube?
Yeah, so YouTube, it's Ryan Johnson, and I'm on Instagram. It's IF with Ryan there on the screen, at IF with Ryan. I'm on Instagram, and I'm finally now on TikTok. I've been making the TikTok style videos for a while, but I'm finally actually now on TikTok. So TikTok and uh, in, Instagram at IF with Ryan. And if you ever have any questions or want to reach out, you can email me. It's ifwithryan@gmail.com.
Okay, I just put your YouTube channel on there, and I'm gonna put your email address on there. I believe I spelled it correctly. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions outside the stream, definitely feel free to contact Ryan Again, just a super cool dude to talk to, and thanks again, Ryan, for hopping on. And we got to do this again sometime because I know, if we have time, we could talk all day. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate having you on again, and thanks again for everyone who watched. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next one. Peace out.
Later.